Let's hit the ground running. What's the biggest update in Magento 2.4.4? Without a doubt, PHP 8.1. As PHP 7 nears end of life, being able to run the latest version of PHP 8 is a huge win for the Magento ecosystem. I've been chatting about constructor property promotion and Magento for quite a while now. Check out my other video on that while you're at it. But to summarize, PHP 8's promoted properties allow you to dramatically simplify Magento classes. Not only does this allow you to create these classes much more quickly, but it also cuts down on debugging and diagnosing issues with code, as there's just so much less of it to deal with. Along with promoted properties, we also get access to other features in PHP 8.1, including enums, array unpacking, read-only properties, and a lot more. It may take a while for Magento developers to start utilizing these new language level features, and even a bit longer for the core code to start writing and refactoring some of their code to take advantage of it. So it's a good time to start becoming familiar with these new concepts and additions. Note that Magento 2.4.4 officially requires PHP 8.1, which means that you can start writing your code fully in PHP 8.1 today. That said, I was actually able to fully install Magento 2.4.4 on PHP 7.4 on the latest beta version. So it's possible that Magento 2.4.4 unofficially supports PHP 7. You'll want to be careful running that version though, since module vendors may make their modules take advantage of PHP 8 from the get-go for this new version. Getting into the actual new features of Magento 2.4.4, let's start with the open source version. Actually, Elasticsearch, which affects both open source and Adobe Commerce. Adobe famously dropped support for conducting product searches with MySQL in version 2.4 and replaced it with Elasticsearch. There were a lot of developers that complained about this switch, but seriously, the MySQL search was just awful, and I don't know of anyone that actually liked it. I think developers just complained because they were tasked with managing yet another service, and I get it, but when Elasticsearch came into the picture, it provided a far superior product search. Fast forward to 2022, and there's another wrench that just got thrown into the mix. If you weren't aware, Elasticsearch actually updated their licensing in 2021, and that change affects any new version of Elasticsearch released after 7.11. Starting with 7.12, Elasticsearch is still free, but if you read the fine print regarding their licensing change, the first bullet point is you may not provide the products to others as a managed service. Well, Magento Cloud is a managed service, so that means that Adobe needed to make plans to put the kibosh on Elasticsearch not so long after they replaced MySQL with it. Well, Adobe wasn't the only big player affected by this change. A much bigger one was Amazon. Since AWS supplied managed services for Elasticsearch, they also needed a solution. Luckily, Amazon anticipated this and forked Elasticsearch and called the new version OpenSearch. Apparently, developers don't get too creative with naming these open source software packages. Adobe, as well as many other services that supplied Elasticsearch as a service, hopped onto this new Amazon fork of Elasticsearch and decided to adopt it for their own services. So that's the history lesson. To sum it up, Elasticsearch is now OpenSearch, and we can carry forward business as usual, as it is now the only supported out-of-the-box catalog search for Magento. Of course, if you use some other search package such as Algolia, none of this will matter much to you. Just as a quick aside, if you don't know who I am or what I do, my name is Mark Shust, and I've been a Magento developer for over a decade now. I left consulting in order to teach Magento full-time for my own company, m.academy. If you want to learn Magento and just don't know where to start, definitely check out my Magento 2 coding kickstart course, which I just recently updated in 2022 for Magento 2.4.4 and PHP 8.1. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter or connect with me on LinkedIn by looking up my handle, Mark Shust. Moving on to some other library updates, jQuery is still very much alive and has been updated to version 3.6. jQuery UI was also updated, which includes a few breaking updates around rendering tabs and calling widgets with the data function. Require.js was also updated to the latest version 2.3.6, and other scripts such as Scriptaculous, Chart.js, Moment.js, Underscore, Prototype.js, and Less CSS have all received updates to their latest versions. It's really nice to see some of these older libraries finally get updated. The tiny MCE editor was also updated from version 4 to 5, which includes some more accessibility compliant UI controls. I don't think this is a huge upgrade, but it's something to be aware of if you developed third-party modules that hook into tiny MCE. PHP unit was also updated to the latest version, as well as all of those Luminous dependencies that have been upgraded to the latest versions to be compatible with PHP 8.1. Besides some of the performance improvements being consistently made to the GraphQL layer, which are very much appreciated, issues with translations on multi-site and multi-language stores in GraphQL have been fixed. This is a really important update if you are running a headless store and depend on these GraphQL queries for your multi-store setup. If you use New Relic for debugging code, GraphQL provides more detailed transaction names to make it easier to debug. Like this video so far? Remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel so I know to make more videos just like this. The exodus of all vendor bundled modules continues with Magento 2.4.4 as they have been pretty much all removed now. This has been in the works for some time, and it's always been a good idea to pull these out of the core anyways, since you can receive more frequent updates of these modules directly from the vendors. If you're a merchant, you can still download these same modules, they just aren't included in the core anymore, so you'll need to grab them from GitHub or the marketplace. The exception to this is Braintree, which for some reason is still in the core code. This most likely has something to do with the history between PayPal, who owns Braintree, and Magento's previous relationship. If you use PayPal, Venmo support has been added, which is awesome, as well as some additions to buy now, pay later features, which are becoming ever increasingly popular with consumers. Something not talked about much is accessibility. This is a very big concern for larger merchants, especially if they previously faced legal trouble for ADA compliance. Some merchants have even been sued over not having this compliance. Magento 2.4.4 brings many improvements to help meet these accessibility guidelines, including improved tooltips, tagging of screen elements, a redesign of icons and buttons, and much more, which will greatly assist customers having issues with accessibility such as vision issues. There has been an absolute barrage of bug fixes in this release, which seem to go on and on, which is awesome, but there are too many to cover that I won't go over them in this video. That said, the performance improvements in Magento 2.4.4 are understated. I'm not sure if this is because the upgrade from PHP 7 to 8, or if there were just so many performance improvements in Magento in this version, but this new version just screams when developing locally on my Mac. So I'm very excited about all of these performance updates. If you are on Adobe Commerce and looking to upgrade from a previous version of Magento, be sure to check out the Upgrade Compatibility tool. This is a really neat command line tool which analyzes all of the modules in your instance, returns a list of critical errors, issues, and warnings, and also identifies any problem areas that must be addressed before upgrading to a newer version of Adobe Commerce. It's available as a composer package that is released in tandem with every Adobe Commerce release. Some performance improvements have been made in Commerce which improve the throughput of order processing and message queues in times when you expect a lot of orders to come in, such as flash sales, from 10,000 orders an hour up to 60,000 orders an hour. This allows Commerce to provide more than 5 times as many orders a minute and also handles extra large catalogs needed by B2B merchants. You can now bypass the checks of inventory levels when checking out, which can really speed up the checkout for customers with many items in the cart. Also, you can defer sales rule processing, which runs totals calculations, which can be a really nice update if you are really looking to squeeze that last bit of speed out of your checkout. PWA Studio 12 has also been released. Additional APIs and capabilities are also being added to PWA Studio for Commerce, giving merchants the tools they need to create very personalized buying experiences. I won't go into detail about PWA Studio updates in this video, so be on the lookout for another video which goes over this release in much more detail. If you are running on Magento Cloud, remember to update the appropriate values in your Magento's magento.app.yaml file for PHP 8.1 and Composer 2.2, as well as setting the build flavor to none. This will ensure your Magento Cloud instance gets updated to the most recent version of PHP and Composer for Magento 2.4.4 support. Know of any larger updates that I may have missed? Leave them in the comments below to let everyone else know. I hope you liked this video. If you did, remember to tap that like button and subscribe to my channel if you want me to create more videos just like this. And as always, keep coding.